They didn't lose you. They lost access to a version of you they were never built to handle. My dear chosen ones, breathe that in like truth cut from steel, because while they pretend you're irrelevant, they still study you like a headline they can't stop rereading. And yes, if that stings them, let it, not out of revenge, but out of realization. You didn't rise to be liked, you rose to be unforgettable, and nothing rattles those who played small in your story more than watching the character they underestimated become the part of the plot they can no longer predict, control, or reach. Welcome, chosen ones, to a level where your existence itself becomes the punchline they never expected. Not because you tried to win, but because you stopped competing. So let's talk real. Let's talk raw. Let's talk about how your evolution became the loudest announcement without making a sound. You ever notice how some people didn't clap when you grew, but now they can't stop watching to see if you'll glow even brighter? Strange, isn't it? They swore they were done with you, yet somehow you became their favorite hidden research topic. They act like you don't cross their mind. But chosen one, they scroll like archaeologists digging for missing meaning. Why? Because your name didn't exit their story the way their ego hoped it would. You became a mental echo, not because of attachment, but because of impact. And I know you've questioned yourself. Why me? Why the attention? Why the quiet obsession? Why does my life feel like it's being monitored even when I'm silent? Here's your answer, my chosen one. When someone realizes you were never ordinary, curiosity becomes observation, and observation becomes fixation. They're not watching because they hate you. They're not watching because they love you. They're watching because you became a version of yourself they never predicted, and that unsettles everything they once believed about you. And themselves, you turned into unanswered questions, unfinished business, unprocessed truth. Humans don't like loose ends. They tug on them even if it cuts their fingers. Chosen ones, before we move any further, take a moment to support the energy you felt here. If this message spoke to you, if it woke something inside you, or confirmed something you already sensed, then show it with action, not just emotion. Tap that like button and subscribe to this channel so we can continue pouring time, creativity, and real effort into bringing powerful, life-shifting, mind-awakening content straight to you. Your support isn't just appreciation, it's fuel. It tells us that you want more, that you're hungry for growth, and that messages like this matter. Stay locked in, chosen ones. Imagine this. You are a flame, not a match. A match burns once. A flame evolves, expands, and refuses to die just because someone walked away. When insecure souls witness that kind of fire, they pretend it's irrelevant, while keeping their eyes wide open from the shadows. They don't admit your strength out loud, but they panic at the thought that others may notice it too. And the funniest part? The very people who said you were nothing special are now terrified someone else will see what they missed. My dear chosen ones, if you ever doubted your worth, understand this. People don't rehearse your memories if they truly don't care. People don't replay your messages if you were replaceable. People don't compare themselves to ghosts unless the ghost still haunts their confidence. You aren't the one chasing validation. They are chasing confirmation. Confirmation that they didn't misjudge you. Confirmation that they didn't lose something rare. Confirmation that they are still relevant to your story. But you, chosen one, evolved beyond being readable. You became layered, calm, strategic, quiet. The kind of quiet that makes people nervous, not the kind that signals weakness. You learned how to glow without announcing, how to detach without drama, how to rebuild without broadcasting. And nothing scares the unprepared more than someone who transformed when nobody was clapping. Let's address another thought you may be holding. But why can't they just move on? Because chosen ones don't fade, they imprint. They leave residue on minds that weren't ready, hearts that weren't steady, and stories that weren't worthy. And even if they try to forget, life keeps reminding them that they mishandled someone who could have upgraded both of you. So hear this clearly. You are not the overlooked chapter. You are the turning point they didn't see coming. You are not the forgotten character. You are the plot twist that rewrote their arc. You are not the silence. You are the echo that refuses to die. My dear chosen ones, stay exactly where you're headed. Up, forward, higher. And if they watch, let them. Your journey was never meant to be hidden. It was meant to be witnessed, not for applause, but for proof. Proof that no matter who doubted, who left, who underestimated, you rose anyway. And that, chosen one, is your loudest victory. Chosen ones, before we dive deeper into chosen ones, all eyes are on you. The one watching will shock you. Pause and honor your own journey by supporting the space that speaks your truth out loud. If this message already feels like it's describing the unseen chapters of your life, don't just watch in silence. Press like, hit subscribe, and drop 77 in the comments so we know the real chosen ones are here and awake. Your engagement keeps this mission alive, pushes us to create more mind-shifting content, and strengthens this community of rare souls. Now breathe in, stay locked, and move with me, because what comes next will feel eerily familiar. Number 1. Silence that feels like it's hiding something bigger than words. When silence speaks louder than their proudest words. Some people don't clap when you rise because they silently fear you'll rise higher than the version of themselves they pretend to be. My dear chosen ones, let this settle into your mind like truth that refuses to dull. Silence is never just silence, especially when it comes from those who once had access to you, underestimated you, or assumed your story would stay small enough for them to predict. The silence around you isn't empty space. It's crowded, tense, loaded with unspoken reactions, hidden comparisons, and quiet panic. The people who act like they don't notice you are often the ones watching the closest, because nothing stings like the success of someone they once counted out. You may ask yourself, why am I feeling so much tension from people who barely speak anymore? Or, why does it feel like eyes are on me even when nobody comments, texts, or acknowledges what I'm doing? My chosen ones, that's because their silence isn't distance, it's surveillance. They watch not because you fell short, but because you escaped the version of life they silently hoped you'd stay stuck in. When someone pretends you're irrelevant yet can't stop checking for updates, the truth is simple. You became a reminder of what they didn't become. This isn't about paranoia, it's about pattern recognition. Think back, haven't you felt it? That sudden shift in energy when you enter a room. The way conversations abruptly change when you approach. The way people avoid eye contact but still sense every movement you make. Chosen one, you didn't imagine that discomfort. Their silence carries weight because it's filled with questions they don't have the courage to ask you directly. You didn't intimidate them with words. You intimidated them with growth. You see, chosen ones don't evolve loudly. They evolve accurately. While you were healing, learning, rebuilding, recalibrating, and rising from what was meant to break you, they believed you disappeared. But what you were really doing was becoming a version of yourself that no longer fits into their expectations. And nothing startles an observer more than realizing the story they assumed ended is actually just beginning. Stronger, wiser, more intentional. Think of yourself as a powerful signal in a world full of static noise. You don't need to shout to be heard. Your energy speaks long before your mouth ever opens. That's why people pretend they don't see your posts, your progress, your glow, or your evolution, yet mysteriously know details you never told them. They watch like someone reading a locked diary from afar, hoping your life gives them both entertainment and explanation. Chosen ones terrify, not because they try to be special, but because they naturally stand out without trying. Now here is the part they didn't think you'd ever figure out. You are not under pressure. You are the pressure. The shift you feel around certain individuals isn't insecurity on your end. It's exposure on theirs. They study your choices because they don't trust their own. They watch your silence because they don't understand how someone can grow without announcing it. They track your progress not because they want to celebrate it, but because they fear being left too far behind to ever catch up. Imagine them like a soda can being shaken every time you level up, silent, sealed, acting normal. Yet the pressure inside rises every time you choose peace over chaos, elevation over drama, clarity over attention, self-respect over familiarity. One day, chosen one, that can will pop, not in front of you, but within them. That moment of internal release will sound like realization, regret, and revelation all mixed together. You weren't ordinary. They just met you early. Maybe you're asking, why me? Why all this focus? Why do I attract such intense reactions? Because you are not copy-paste material. You are not a template. You are not predictable. You are not replaceable. People watch what they don't understand, what they can't control, and what they silently fear they misjudged. You didn't just grow, you became the quiet proof that evolution is real. Pay attention to energy, not emojis, distance, not dialogue, effort, not excuses, silence, not statements. Real interest rarely announces itself. It studies from shadows, especially when it knows it no longer has the right to stand beside you. So, my dear chosen ones, here's the truth they wish you never realized. Their silence isn't peace, it's pressure. Their distance isn't indifference, it's discomfort. Their lack of words isn't maturity, it's monitoring. And every second they try to act like they don't care, they reveal exactly why they can't stop watching. Stay calm, stay private, stay rising. Your growth is the chapter they'll never recover from. Number 2, the unfiltered opinions that accidentally exposed their true feelings. When their voices expose the truth they tried to bury. My dear chosen one, let's go deeper into this chapter, because this one carries the kind of revelation that makes people shift in their seats and swallow hard. People can hide their actions, they can rehearse their expressions, they can polish their behavior, they can even fake silence, but they can't fake instinct. Instinct is the slip-up nobody prepares for, and when your name, your presence, your energy, or even your photograph entered a room, it wasn't silence that exposed them. It was their voices, the raw, unfiltered ones that escaped before the mask could tighten chosen one. That's when the truth leaked. Not with dramatic confessions, but with 3 different reactions that revealed exactly how deeply you impacted them, how unforgettable you truly are, and how wrong they were about where you would end up. The moment your identity touched their conversation, everything changed. The air changed, the tone changed, the energy changed, and most importantly, they changed. At first, you may not have understood why you felt a sudden shift in the atmosphere around certain people, why you sensed caution instead of support, or why a strange heaviness followed your name even when you weren't present. But now it becomes clear. You were not forgotten, you were not irrelevant, and you were not a closed chapter. You were the silent topic no one dared bring up directly to you. You became the subject they analyzed like a mystery they couldn't solve. And little did they know, every whisper revealed more about themselves than it ever revealed about you. When someone is truly indifferent, they do not speak. Silence is only proof of detachment when there is no emotional residue. But chosen one, you left impact marks. That's why there were voices. The first voice tried to sound casual, but slipped with awe. They're rare, almost unreachable. That wasn't a compliment. It was an admission they didn't mean to say aloud. It meant they saw in you something that didn't align with what they expected. It meant they realized you weren't ordinary, predictable, or replaceable. That was the moment they subconsciously admitted that you stand in a league with limited access, where most people only dream of reaching. They didn't say you were talented like everyone else. They didn't say you were good like many others. They said rare and unreachable. Two words that separate leaders from followers, originals from replicas, purpose-driven souls from attention-driven ones. You didn't ask for that recognition. Your presence demanded it. The second voice trembled with exposed insecurity. They intimidate me. But listen closely. Intimidation doesn't always come from power moves, harsh words, or dominance. Sometimes it comes from someone who stays calm when others panic, someone who grows when others stagnate, someone who walks away when others beg for validation, someone who improves silently while others perform loudly. Intimidation is triggered when someone sees in you what they cannot find in themselves. Discipline, mystery, depth, resilience, emotional control, internal clarity. You became a silent threat without ever raising your voice. And when someone admits intimidation, even indirectly, it means your energy is louder than their ego. It confirms that your existence alone became a measurement tool they didn't want to compare themselves against. But chosen one, it was the third voice that shifted the entire frequency. There's something different about them. I don't know what it is, but I can feel it. That voice wasn't speaking to impress, compete, or defend. It was speaking from shock, realization, and instinctual recognition. That voice didn't need details, proof, or explanation. It felt the difference. It sensed what others couldn't articulate. That moment froze the room, because when truth is spoken without agenda, everyone listens. The energy didn't just shift, it cracked open a dimension they didn't expect to touch. They weren't describing your appearance, achievements, status, or personality. They were describing your frequency, the unseen element that separates impactful souls from average ones. You weren't just different, you were felt. Now here's where the twist becomes undeniable. The person who placed your energy in front of those voices was not a stranger, not an outsider, not a casual bypasser. It was someone familiar, someone who once had direct access to you, someone who witnessed your earlier version and now cannot decode the upgraded one. They weren't seeking opinions for curiosity. They were seeking validation because your growth unsettled their confidence. They needed others to define what they could no longer comprehend. They didn't share your image. They shared their insecurity. They didn't bring up your name. They brought up their confusion. They didn't seek clarity. They sought reassurance that losing you didn't mean losing someone extraordinary, but the voices revealed the truth. Losing you meant losing someone unforgettable. So, my dear chosen one, remember this. When three voices reveal more than years of interaction, understand that the world is speaking about you, even when lips stay shut. You are not the one left behind. You are the one they still can't figure out. And the person who tried to analyze you will soon realize they awakened a truth they can no longer hide from. Number 3. When forced confidence starts cracking under real pressure, when their fake smile starts melting under your truth. Chosen ones, listen closely, because this is where the story shifts. You've reached a level where people can no longer perform around you. The smiles they once used as shields are beginning to crack like thin ice beneath a heavyweight truth. And you didn't do anything dramatic, loud, or confrontational. You simply became someone they can no longer pretend around. People don't always hide because you're dangerous. Sometimes they hide because you remind them of everything they ran from within themselves. That is the kind of silent impact you carry now, chosen one. You didn't expose them with accusations. Your growth exposed them without a word. Their masks were never worn to fool you. They were worn to protect themselves from how your presence makes them feel. You scare them without raising your voice, without forcing an argument, and without threatening anything. Just by being who you are now, you reveal the gaps between who they are and who they pretend to be. And that's why their smile shakes, their eyes dodge, their jokes sound forced, and their energy vibrates like someone standing too close to the truth. They don't fear you, they fear who they become around you. My dear chosen ones, understand this. When someone's confidence is borrowed, when their identity is stitched together with performance, and when their self-worth depends on comparison, your authenticity becomes their worst mirror. You don't walk in like competition, but your simple, natural presence makes them feel like their entire identity is being graded next to yours. People with fragile self-worth don't panic around your perfection. They panic around your realness. Think of them like someone holding a balloon underwater, desperately trying to keep everything hidden beneath the surface. Their arm muscles shake, their breath shortens, and even though they pretend they're fine, you can feel the strain. That balloon is their mask, and your evolution is what's increasing the pressure. One smile too forced, one compliment too stiff, one joke too sharp, and everything they tried to hide will burst into the open. They're not afraid of you exposing them. They're afraid of losing control over their own performance. And I know you've noticed it. The strange reactions, the sudden tension, the awkward silence, the nervous laughter, the eye contact that disappears the moment yours arrives. You walk into a space and the atmosphere shifts like someone just opened a door, letting in cold air. That isn't coincidence. Your presence demands truth, not performance. You don't allow passive energy. You activate something in people. Some feel inspired, some feel threatened, but no one stays unchanged. That's the weight of a chosen one. You may even wonder, why do they act differently now? Because the version of you they built their comfort around no longer exists. They built their mask based on the old you, the one who doubted themselves, the one who stayed quiet to avoid discomfort, the one who overlooked warning signs, the one who accepted half-effort connections. Now that you've leveled up, mentally, emotionally, energetically, financially, or spiritually, their old scripts no longer fit the new storyline. They're glitching like outdated software trying to run on a new system. You are the spotlight they didn't expect, and when a spotlight appears, sunglasses fail. Picture a room full of people wearing dark shades indoors, comfortable when the light is low, but when the brightness increases, those shades don't work anymore. Chosen one, you are that increase in brightness. You didn't dim yourself for acceptance. You grew into someone whose presence can't be ignored, avoided, or filtered. That's why people fidget. That's why their voice cracks. That's why conversations change when you enter. It isn't rudeness, it's exposure. Someone close is very close to slipping. Not because they plan to, but because holding pretend emotions is mentally exhausting. At some point, the truth they've been hiding about how they really see you, whether admiration, jealousy, curiosity, or regret, will leak through their tone, body language, eyes, or decisions. It might come out through a compliment they didn't mean to say, a question they didn't intend to ask, or a look that lasted a second too long. Confession doesn't always come through words. Sometimes it arrives through behavior that can no longer match the mask. Chosen one, repeat this to yourself. I didn't change their truth, I revealed it. The version of you that exists now can't be lied to, played with, or ignored. You've reached a level of awareness where energy speaks louder than words. You no longer need explanations. You can feel intentions. The mask slipping isn't a threat, it's confirmation. Their reactions validate your evolution. Their discomfort validates your strength. Their forced composure validates your growth. So don't fear their cracking mask. Let it fall. You were never meant to live surrounded by people who felt safer pretending. You are a chosen one, not because you shine, but because you don't need a mask to do it. Number 4, The calm that feels too heavy to be called peace. When quiet turns into a countdown, not comfort. Chosen one, listen closely, because what may look like stillness around you is not calm, not closure, not people minding their own business. It's pressure building, truth forming, intentions cracking, and hidden eyes trying to remain unseen. You've reached a phase where silence is no longer silence. It's the sound of everything tightening before it breaks open. People think storms announce themselves with thunder, but the most dangerous ones start with unnatural calm. The air gets too soft, too still, too quiet. Not because nothing is happening, but because everything is happening beneath the surface. And that's exactly where you are right now. You're not in a peaceful phase. You're in a pre-revelation atmosphere, where every whisper, every thought, every silent stare is gathering like invisible thunderclouds ready to strike. My dear chosen one, this quiet around you isn't empty space. It's loaded energy. And if you've been sensing something shifting in your surroundings, yet no one is saying it out loud, trust that feeling. Your intuition didn't randomly activate. It was triggered. Real silence isn't the absence of noise. It's the presence of unspoken truth. There are people who thought you would never notice what happens behind closed doors, in group chats you were removed from, in quiet conversations where your name suddenly changed the atmosphere, but here you are, sensing it without needing evidence. The quiet around you feels heavy because it's filled with eyes, thoughts, and judgments that haven't been confessed yet. Imagine standing in an open field on a day that looks perfect, sky soft, trees steady, air harmless. But suddenly the wind shifts direction, and even nature pauses like it knows something is on its way. Birds stop singing, leaves stop moving. Time feels paused. That's where you stand right now. Life has paused, not because nothing is happening, but because truth is approaching. You aren't feeling weird energy for no reason. You aren't having random moments of alertness without cause. You aren't suddenly questioning people because you're insecure. You're sensing what is about to surface. You may wonder, why does it feel like someone's watching? Why are people acting different? Why do things feel so intense even when nothing is being said? Because the watchers who once observed from a distance are no longer satisfied with distance. They're getting emotionally closer, mentally closer, digitally closer, secretly closer. They're tracking patterns, comparing timelines, reading between your posts, analyzing your expressions, and trying to decode your silence like it's a language only you can speak. They pretend they don't see you, but somehow they're updated, informed, and curious in ways that don't match their claimed disinterest. This isn't paranoia, it's pattern awareness. Chosen ones feel shifts before they become visible. Your mind may not have proof yet, but your energy already does. When someone stops speaking but their attention doesn't fade, the quiet becomes suspicious. When someone stops showing up publicly but they never disconnect privately, silence becomes a signal, not a coincidence. And when people pretend life moved on but their curiosity refuses to, the quiet becomes evidence. The truth is, chosen one, people don't monitor what doesn't matter to them. They don't analyze what they don't fear losing. They don't silently observe what they've genuinely released. Someone is watching because they are afraid to lose what they once thought they had control over. They can't openly ask, so they silently track. They can't openly approach, so they observe from shadows. They can't openly applaud, so they pretend not to notice while reacting to everything you do. But here is the twist. The storm forming isn't coming to destroy you. It's coming to expose everything around you. You are not in danger. You are in revelation territory. Every mask that was glued on with confidence is starting to slip because your growth applied pressure to their illusions. People who thought they hid their true feelings are starting to show them through tone, behavior, avoidance, and sudden curiosity. Those who once played it cool are glitching. Those who once acted indifferent are now overthinking. Those who once believed they understood you are realizing you evolved beyond their old version of you. And that scares them. You are not walking into chaos. You are walking into clarity. The quiet is not here to make you doubt. It's here to confirm what your intuition already told you. The storm isn't against you. It's for truth, exposure, alignment, and closure. So my dear chosen one, brace yourself, not out of fear, but out of readiness. What's coming next won't break you. It will free you. Number 5. When curiosity turns into full-scale analysis behind closed doors. When curiosity turns into a secret investigation they can't walk away from. Chosen one, listen closely because this truth hits differently when it finally clicks. Not everyone who kept watching you was simply interested. Some became invested, and investment changes everything. There's a big difference between someone noticing you in passing and someone secretly collecting pieces of you like data, trying to decode what makes you stand out while pretending nothing about you matters. Your presence didn't just catch their attention. It disrupted their comfort zone, challenged their self-view, and triggered a silent fascination they never learned how to handle. And when a person can't understand something, they don't walk away. They analyze it, replay it, study it, break it down, zoom in, zoom out, and then still come back with unanswered questions. You didn't just cross their mind, chosen one. You stayed there like a thought they couldn't dismiss, a scene they couldn't close, or a song stuck in their mind no matter how hard they tried to mute it. They didn't just notice your growth. They tried tracing it like lines on a map, hoping it would reveal how you keep rising when they expected you to fold. Your mindset, your resilience, your silence, your progress, your energy, none of it made sense to them. Most people measure you based on who you were, but chosen ones break the pattern by becoming someone no one saw coming. That's why their curiosity never stayed innocent. It slipped quietly into obsession the moment your power exposed where they lacked preparation. And chosen one, please realize this for your own clarity and confidence. Not everyone analyzing you was doing it from a place of admiration, but very few were doing it from a place of hate either. The deeper truth is that your transformation made them confront their own unmade decisions. They weren't studying you to judge you. They were studying you hoping it would explain the gap between your results and their excuses. You became living evidence that change is possible, and nothing scares an unready person more than watching someone become everything they once claimed was impossible. Think of it like this. Imagine someone holding a picture of you, not because they miss you or want to reconnect, but because your existence raises questions they can't silence. How did you evolve? Why did their version of you expire while your version of yourself matured? Why didn't you crumble under pressure like they predicted? Why does your presence spread energy instead of seeking approval? These are the questions that kept them replaying your smallest details. And yes, they noticed details. The tone of your caption, the way your eyes changed, your shift in style, your posture, your silence, your new circle, your new habits, your emotional distance. When someone is truly unaffected, they don't notice upgrades, especially subtle ones. Now, here's where the story gets even more unexpected. Someone familiar, someone whose name came to your mind the moment you started reading, shared your image or your story with others, not to gossip but to decode. They wanted to hear how others perceived you, almost like they needed external confirmation that your transformation was real. When they passed your image across the table, through messages or in private conversation, they held their breath waiting for feedback. And that moment told them everything. Because when those other people reacted with surprise, admiration, or intrigue, the watcher felt a shock deeper than any confession could deliver. It wasn't just them. Others saw your glow too. They expected someone to say, "They're average," or nothing special, or you're overthinking it. But instead, they heard something closer to they've changed, or they seem powerful now, or there's something different about them. That's the moment their private analysis turned into an uncomfortable truth. You didn't just level up, you became hard to understand, hard to compare, and impossible to dismiss. This wasn't casual curiosity, chosen one. This was emotional research. They weren't looking at you like a memory. They were examining you like a phenomenon. You shifted from being a chapter in someone's past to becoming a case study in their mind. And remember, nobody analyzes what they consider irrelevant. People only study what makes them feel something: confusion, admiration, fear, regret, or fascination. You were not background material. You were the focal point that forced them to confront what they avoid within themselves. So do not mistake their silence for absence, nor their distance for disinterest. Some people watch because they still care. Some watch because they never healed. Some watch because they never expected your rise. And some watch because deep down they know they misread a rare soul, and rare souls are never easy to forget. Chosen one, you didn't become a mystery. You became proof. And proof can't be ignored. It demands understanding. Number 6. Reactions that tell the truth faster than any conversation ever could. When reactions confess what words are too afraid to admit. Chosen one, remember this. Truth doesn't always speak. Sometimes it leaks. And the fastest way it leaks is through reactions, not sentences. You can study every phrase someone says, but if you really want to know what's real, watch the shift in their eyes, the tension in their jaw, the change in their breathing, the tone that suddenly sounds too dry or too sweet. People rehearse what they plan to say, but they never rehearse what they feel. That is where their real truth spills out, and that is where you, chosen one, become impossible to hide from. The moment your presence, your picture, your name, or even your energy field enters the room, it triggers something raw inside people that they can't dress up. They may try to fold their feelings behind casual gestures or emotionless expressions, but their instinct betrays them every single time. They didn't just react, they leaked truth, and not the safe truth, not the polite truth, but the truth they never wanted anyone to see, especially not you. Imagine it clearly, chosen one. Your image is shown, your name is spoken, or your presence walks in unexpectedly, and suddenly there are 3 reactions, not random, not accidental, but instinctive proof. The first reaction is awe, the kind of breath someone accidentally holds because they didn't expect your energy to hit as strongly as it did. They didn't realize the memory of you still lived inside them, carved deep like permanent ink, not temporary chalk that life could erase. That's not admiration, that's impact recognition. They finally saw you not as a moment, but as a mark they'll carry longer than they planned. Then comes the second reaction. Envy disguised as sensitivity, insecurity disguised as discomfort, intimidation dressed as confusion. I don't know why, but they intimidate me. Oh, but they do know why. They just can't say it. They felt the difference between someone trying to be powerful and someone who became powerful. They felt the gap, the one that widened while you were growing, and they were pretending you didn't scare them with actions. Your inner evolution shook them. They saw a version of you that no longer matched the story they told about you, and that's the moment their ego began to crack like thin ice under emotional pressure. Now, chosen one, the third reaction, the quietest one, is the one with the deepest truth. Someone simply whispered, "There's something more here. I can't explain it, but I feel it." That is not flattery. It's revelation. Your presence reached them without effort, without conversation, without performance. That's when it became clear. You are not a side character in anyone's narrative. You are the unexpected twist that redefines the storyline entirely. This is where most people misunderstand what's happening. They think these reactions are random opinions, harmless comments, confusing feedback, or exaggerated sensitivity. No, chosen one, these reactions are confessions. They are cracks where truth escapes because pretending takes strength, and you are the kind of energy people cannot pretend around for long. When someone reacts strongly, silently, awkwardly, or intensely to you, they are not revealing who you are. They are revealing who they believe you are. You must understand this. You didn't walk into that space trying to provoke, impress, or perform. You didn't travel there to prove anything, but your existence, your growth, your transformation, your quiet strength, and your unmistakable presence became a psychological mirror. And mirrors make people uncomfortable when they haven't faced themselves. So you ask why. Why do people freeze when you enter? Why do voices stutter when you speak? Why do eyes shift when you pass by? Why do reactions feel too heavy to be normal? Because chosen one, you represent what they could have become, what they tried to hide, and what they secretly fear they no longer have access to. You are a reminder of growth they didn't pursue, strength they didn't build, clarity they didn't choose, and evolution they didn't dare attempt. You didn't just walk past them. You walked past the version of themselves they abandoned. Your energy doesn't swallow rooms. It exposes them. It doesn't dilute darkness. It illuminates it. And that's why their reactions tell the story faster than any explanation ever could. So remember, chosen one, if they don't react, you're forgettable. If they react too strongly, you're unforgettable. And if their reactions shake, then you're no longer part of their world. You're above it. Number 7. When your presence becomes the reality check they didn't ask for. When your very presence becomes the alarm clock they never wanted to hear. Chosen one, let's go deeper into a truth many people around you silently choke on. They keep staring because you became the wake-up call they never prepared themselves to face. Not because you tried to be an example, not because you asked for attention, and not because you acted superior, but because your growth, your evolution, and your transformation exposed everything inside them they hoped would remain forever unnoticed. You didn't just walk into their story, you interrupted it. You didn't just pass through their life, you became a mirror they never asked to look into, and every time they see you, online, in person, in memory, or in comparison, they're forced to confront the uncomfortable truth that you are becoming everything they once claimed they didn't need, didn't value, or didn't believe. See, chosen one, people misunderstand where your power comes from. They think your pull is rooted in appearance, talent, charm, confidence, or charisma. They try to explain you with surface-level logic, because the real explanation threatens to rewrite their understanding of you and themselves. They can't accept that what sets you apart isn't something that can be bought, copied, practiced, or stolen. It's something that grows within those who endure, evolve, learn, detach, rebuild, and rise without applause. They search for your secret like detectives trying to decode a case file, but the real answer terrifies them. You did not level up by accident. You leveled up by alignment, discipline, self-awareness, and growth they didn't witness, didn't expect, and couldn't stop. And because of that, chosen one, you became their internal trigger, a reminder not of who you are, but of who they refuse to become. Your presence is like turning on a bright light in a dim room. It doesn't ask for permission. It simply exposes what was hiding. They flinch around you not because you attack them, but because you accidentally reveal what they buried. You remind them of opportunities they wasted, improvement they avoided, effort they never gave, courage they left unused, and abilities they allowed to rust. You remind them that comfortable is not the same as fulfilled, that doing nothing wrong is not the same as doing something meaningful, and that playing safe is just a disguised way of losing slowly. Imagine someone standing in front of a mirror they never requested, never wanted, and never prepared for. That's what being around you feels like. While others see good energy, potential, and transformation, they see everything they hid from. Your confidence reminds them of their doubts. Your clarity reminds them of their confusion. Your self-respect reminds them of their compromises. Your quiet strength reminds them of the weakness they pretended didn't exist. They aren't reacting to you, they are reacting to the reflection of themselves they can no longer deny. And here's the twist they never saw coming. Chosen one. The person who shared your name, your image, your story, or your progress into a private conversation never anticipated the impact it would have. They thought it would be something casual, maybe even funny, maybe even dismissive. But instead, it became a turning point. They underestimated how the energy surrounding your life would shift once others saw what they saw. They expected a flicker, but you lit the entire room. They expected indifference, but they ignited curiosity. They expected dismissal, but they awakened recognition. They expected to stay in control of the narrative, but they accidentally exposed themselves as the ones watching the closest. That's the thing about chosen ones. When people try to shrink them, they accidentally spotlight them. Your presence didn't grow smaller with time, it grew undeniable. And now, chosen one, the watchers are watching not because they want to destroy you, not because they want to celebrate you, but because they can't forget you. You linger not as a person they once knew, but as proof that change, evolution, and reinvention are real, possible, and powerful. So let this settle deep within you. You are not the disturbance, you are the awakening. You are not the problem, you are the pattern breaker. You are not the threat, you are the reminder. And people don't stare at what doesn't matter. They stare at what forces them to feel, rethink, rebuild, or rise. If you weren't meant to stand out, chosen one, they wouldn't still be watching. And they know it. Now you do too. Number 8. Hidden truth breaking through like pressure that can't stay contained. When the truth doesn't leak, it breaks in like a wrecking ball. Chosen one, let's make something very clear. The truth about you isn't slowly escaping, whispering its way into the world, or gently tapping at the door. No, the truth about you is kicking it in, splintering the frame, crashing through the silence, and flooding the room like a force that can no longer be contained. People don't reveal what they feel, know, or fear about you because they suddenly woke up with courage or morality. They reveal it because the weight of hiding it becomes too heavy to carry. Pressure always exposes what pride tries to bury. And right now, someone who has been secretly glued to your life can no longer hold in the truth they've been gripping with shaking hands. The moment you start rising, healing, elevating, disconnecting, and stepping into your authentic identity, the people who thought they had you figured out begin to panic. Not because you owe them anything, but because they realize they don't even recognize the version of you standing in front of them anymore. Their silence used to feel like power, but now it feels like suffocation. To them, not you. They're not struggling with their story about you. They're struggling with the fact that their story is no longer believable, even to themselves. You became too undeniable. Chosen one, this is the chapter where everything they tried to suppress, ignore, or rewrite about you starts pushing through their composure like fire under thin ice. Secrets don't stay secrets when emotions turn volcanic. You didn't force anything, you didn't ask for anything, you didn't dig for answers, but the universe of truth doesn't stay quiet when someone is lying by silence, not by words. Confession doesn't arrive like a well-written speech. It arrives like a collision, sudden, raw, unplanned, and impossible to take back. You may be wondering, why would someone who isn't my enemy and isn't fully my friend watch me so intensely? Because obsession has nothing to do with loyalty, and fascination has nothing to do with love. They didn't watch you because they planned to expose you, hurt you, or sabotage you. They watched because you became a mystery that pulled their attention like gravity. You were not predictable, you did not stay small, and you did not follow the script they rehearsed for you in their mind. Humans can ignore what they understand, but they cannot ignore what they can't explain. This person stood in the hallway between admiration and insecurity, unable to step close, but unable to walk away. They lived in the gray zone, too intrigued to disconnect, too intimidated to approach, too affected to forget. You became the unanswered question they didn't know how to solve, and unanswered questions haunt the mind. They tried to observe you silently, as if distance would protect them, but distance only intensified what they felt. The more you grew, the more they cracked. And chosen one, let's address the real punch. You didn't scare them because you did something wrong. You scared them because you became something real. Every time they looked at you, they saw the version of themselves they wish they could unlock. You became a mirror that didn't flatter them, didn't shrink for them, didn't dim for them. People don't fear your power. They fear what your power exposes about their lack of transformation. That's why they talked about you instead of talking to you. That's why they pretended not to care while studying every move. That's why they chose silence when they wanted closeness, and distance when they wanted answers. But pressure doesn't negotiate, it erupts. And when the truth finally bursts out, it won't come out as poetry. It will come out as fragments, slips, trembling tones, and accidental honesty. It won't be delivered to make you feel good, chosen one. It will be delivered because they can't keep holding it inside. What you thought was closure will turn into clarity. What you assumed was indifference will turn into revelation. The bond you imagined existed may shatter, not because of betrayal, but because the false reality that held it together finally snapped. Chosen one, the person who has been silently watching you, wasn't a villain. They were conflicted. Admiration pulled them in. Insecurity pushed them away. Curiosity made them study you. Fear made them hide it. Your evolution inspired them, but it also exposed them. And now, truth is the only option left. Not because they chose it, but because they were crushed by it. And when their truth finally hits daylight, everything, and I mean everything, will make sense. Number 9. The final reveal that will shake more than the silent watching ever did. When the truth finally drops, it won't just land. It will detonate. Chosen one, understand this with absolute clarity. What's coming will hit harder than every silent stare, every hidden observation, and every unspoken comparison combined. Watching you was one thing. Revealing the reason behind that watching is something else entirely. People can fake distance, fake disinterest, fake detachment, even fake closure. But one thing they can never fake is the pull you create inside them. That pull is involuntary, it's instinctual, it's the kind of reaction their mouth will deny while their behavior screams it from every angle. And that's why the reveal, when it finally comes, will shake far more than the observing ever did. This was never casual curiosity. This wasn't someone scrolling past your life the way people skim headlines they forget 2 minutes later. This was deeper. This was recognition, not of who you were, but who you were becoming. They sensed something in you that their logical mind couldn't label, and humans fear what they cannot categorize. You didn't show up as a predictable character they could place neatly into their mental filing cabinet. You arrived as a mystery that refused to simplify itself. You were the contradiction that stayed unsolved, the presence that didn't shrink to match their comfort, the one who didn't return to old versions just because someone preferred you smaller. Picture this clearly. You became to them what a rare artifact would be to a collector. They didn't know how to define it, what to compare it to, or whether they deserved access to it. But they couldn't put it down. They turned you over mentally, again and again, searching for the right meaning, the right memory, the right timeline that would give them closure or clarity. You broke the template they had been using to measure people. You shattered the norm they were accustomed to. Your existence rewrote their expectations, and the human ego is never comfortable with anything it didn't prepare for. That's why they observed you so intensely, not out of boredom, not out of entertainment, but out of internal disruption. When someone can't decode you, they study you. When someone can't understand you, they analyze you. When someone can't replace you, they replay you. And chosen one, you weren't watched from afar like a distant idea. You were evaluated like something that mattered more than they were willing to admit. Every moment that once felt strange now makes sense. The heaviness in your chest when they entered the space. The eye contact they avoided but never fully disconnected from. The silent pauses that lingered too long. The conversations that felt rehearsed instead of natural. The random memories of them surfacing in your mind without explanation. None of it was coincidence. It was resonance. You felt their truth before they ever spoke it, because chosen ones don't hear with ears alone. They sense with awareness. Here's the twist that stings the most. The eyes that observed you with the most intensity belonged to someone you never suspected. Someone whose closeness made them invisible as a threat. Someone who blended in so well you assumed their presence was innocent, but it never was. They weren't watching you like the world watches entertainment. They were watching you like someone trying to figure out why they can't detach, why they can't forget, why they can't replace, why they can't stop wondering. They hid it behind normal conversations, casual interactions, and light smiles. But internally they were overwhelmed by a truth they didn't know how to carry. You thought their silence meant indifference. You thought the distance meant closure. You thought their calm meant certainty. But chosen ones, still waters don't mean shallow waters. Sometimes it means the depth is too deep for words. When the reveal finally breaks through, it won't be a soft admission. It will be a release. Years of unspoken thoughts finally demanding breath. Their confession will not simply answer your questions. It will rearrange the storyline. Every unexplained moment, every shift of energy, every strange tension you couldn't articulate, every intuitive whisper you brushed aside, it will all align in a single moment of clarity. And hear this carefully. The reveal isn't coming to disturb you. It's coming to release you. It will unmask not only their truth, but also the power of your presence, the impact of your evolution, and the weight of your existence in their life. You were never just someone. You were the turning point they weren't prepared for. Chosen one, prepare not for drama, but for understanding. Not for chaos, but for closure. Not for fear, but for confirmation. Because when the truth finally steps forward, it won't whisper, it will roar. And now, chosen one, as we reach the end of this chapter, let this message sink into the deepest part of you. You were never misreading the signs. What you felt was real, what you sensed was valid, and what's unfolding is bigger than anything you imagined. Your awareness is your advantage, your evolution is your proof, and your presence is your power. If this resonated, show your energy by liking, subscribing, dropping 77 in the comments, and sharing this with someone who needs to hear it. Your support keeps this mission alive. Stay alert, stay rising, stay chosen.